Tina Kostic here, who's going to talk with us about the ins and outs of this one.
Yes, so we have discussed this at FFLA. We have discussed this at study session as well. And just a little bit of history. I only have 3 slides, but I thought especially for those that are viewing from home, it might be helpful to go over the sinking fund and overview where we're at. So we are currently in year 4 of our 5-year sinking fund millage. The current approved rate by the voters at the time that was approved is 0.74, and that is subject to the Constitution's Headley Amendment. Basically, Headley requires a rollback of the millage rate when the annual growth of our property taxable values is greater than inflation. And when that rate is rolled back each year, it's permanent. So right now, our rate is 0.7165, and that is the replacement rate that we are requesting on the ballot to be placed on the ballot in May, even though the approved rate is 0.74. What are sinking fund monies used for? So some very common examples over the years we've used for roof replacements, HVAC improvements, parking lots, flooring, ADA access and safety, some visible improvements like gateway spaces. The ballot language actually includes roughly the amount of revenue generated, which has been around 2.4, and we project 2.5, depending on where we're at. Again, we are capped with that Headley rollback. So that amount has allowed us to do all of these types of items year after year. And recently, the law was expanded, and I know our legislator in the community, Mike McCready, was very instrumental in helping the expansion of what the sinking fund may be used for. And that now is including school security improvements and acquisition and upgrading of technology. This expansion is only for any newly approved sinking fund millages. So that is the reason we're using the word replacement, because we have 1 more year left. Starting with this summer's levy, but if we are successful with the May election, then we would immediately replace that last year with this new amount, so that way that allows us to use those monies for the expanded purposes as soon as this summer. And then last slide is just the current 5-year sinking fund millage rate. Where we started was an approved rate of 0.74, but with the rollback that has to be calculated every year, that should not say value, that should say 0.7165, so I'm not sure what happened with that one. But that would be the requested rate with the asterisk next to it, is what we are looking for. Any questions?
Tina, if you could just explain what sinking funds can be used for and what sinking funds by law cannot be used for.
So sinking funds, it's actually can be used for repairs and some renovations, all of the things that I had listed. It may not be used for regular maintenance, may not be used for salaries, may not be used for employee compensation whatsoever. The law is very narrowly defined on what it can be used for. And this expanded use of technology and security is because we cannot purchase school buses with sinking funds, for instance, or vehicles, or loose furnishings. So it really is more of the bricks and mortar to continue to repair and keep up on more of an annual basis. No significant renovation, just not enough is generated for that. So that hopefully helps explain.
And about how much money do we generate every year?
It's been anywhere from 2.3, depending on home values, to 2.4, right in there. Now over 2.4 for this year, and then the projection is 2.5 because we are presuming taxable values will increase, and we're allowed to have an increase up to the rate of inflation in total.
And is that sufficient? That amount of money sufficient to handle all of the kind of maintenance work or rehab that we
repair
have to do?
work, yes.
Repair work?
Maintenance
Not
is the no-no
not
word.
maintenance.
So ongoing repairs to our capital buildings is what we've been able to accomplish with that amount of money. And Brian Goby is here if you have really detailed questions. Yes, Mr. Ford.
So if the decision is made that we need to provide, a fresh coat of paint to the interior of Bloom and Tots, is that maintenance or is that repair?
Simply going and painting a room is maintenance, not allowed. If there is a renovation in a set of rooms, or maybe we decide to, like the gateway spaces, where it's a project that would involve paint to accomplish that renovation, it is allowed. There are a slew of treasury letters, actually, where when the sinking fund was new decades ago in the state, schools would ask Treasury, is this allowed, is this allowed? Because it really leaves a lot up to everyone's own judgment. And so all of us use that as our sinking fund Bible, and if there's anything questionable, we actually seek legal counsel advice, because not using the sinking fund for an allowable purpose would not allow us to ever levy it again. So we take it very seriously, and if there's ever a question within all of the guidance we have, we actually seek legal advice.
And I think our auditors review this every year to make sure that we're in compliance.
Yes, the sinking fund, just like any bonds for the high school, for instance, they're always audited every single year with an opinion that we are in compliance or not, which we have been, and we plan to continue to be.
I want to say, first of all, thank you to our Bloomfield Hills School District voters who have voted in our sinking fund twice, and it has made a tremendous difference in what we can do for our children, because we have had those funds that can be used for those purposes. And Brian and his team have been able to provide us with, through the years, sinking roof replacement schedules, likely need for replacement of HVAC items and so on, really to plan out how that $2.5 million annually could be spent on things that we know are going to need to be addressed, whether it's parking lot replacement or other items across the district that need refreshing. So I really want to be sure that we remember that it has made a tremendous difference, and it will continue to be able to be an important piece of protecting what our rest of our general fund by being able to renew this millage.
As I remember, the regulation from the state says that or districts can levy up to, is it 5 mills?
It is.
Or is it 3 or 5?
It is now with the new law. It is 3 mills,
3 mills.
10 years.
Okay, so
It
we
was
could go
5.
up to 3. I think your group has done a kind of a survey in terms of how many mills different districts in the area assess and where we kind of fit in within Oakland schools and Oakland County.
Yes, we're very much at the low end, especially when we consider all millages for capital needs. So when we consider our high school and our sinking fund,
Which is around 1 mil.
we are low, yes, low in the county,
Okay.
absolutely.
So we are being very prudent with the taxpayers' money and not increasing the millage at all at this point.
Right, at this point, we're asking for a replacement, which would be the same rate, and then we can start using the monies on the expanded uses this summer.
But we're really fortunate that our community has given us that support so we can do this.
Yes, absolutely.